the guy that they picked in the third round, that they had as the second highest quarterback on their draft board, is so good that they don't want him in the red zone. Twice.
Yeah,
twice.
Franchise, quote unquote, franchise quarterback, your guy, the number 2 quarterback on the draft board behind Cam Ward. You don't want him playing in the red zone.
Well, what was fascinating about those snaps was they took him completely off the field. A lot of times the quarterback at least stays on the field because you don't know what they're going to do. They might run some kind of reverse and a flea flick or whatever. Like, quarterback might catch the pass, like something unexpected. They just took him completely out of the game.
No trick plays here. We just don't want our quarterback playing. And who do you think once again favorited that TikTok? That's right, Deshaun Watson. It looks like he's on a tear, just liking and favoriting videos that criticize Kevin Stefanski in the front office. That's 2 of them now for us. Does this mean we're the favorite podcast of Deshaun Watson? I don't know. Don't know if I really want to be that, but, he can keep liking our videos. That's fine. But yeah, it really seems like a breakup is coming. I guess it's just a matter of when.
Get ready, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just another football story. This isn't about touchdowns, interceptions, victories, or defeats. No, this is about betrayal, sabotage, ego, and a digital breadcrumb trail that has just caused the whole Cleveland Browns organization to fall apart. We're talking about a plot that has been hiding in plain sight. It only took one swipe on a screen, one digital moment of unvarnished honesty from a $230 million 0-cents quarterback to show the whole terrible business. But before we continue, I would like to ask you, my friends, to subscribe to my channel so that you can continue to receive news about Browns. Ladies and gentlemen, Deshaun Watson, who is on the injured reserve list because of an Achilles injury that was supposed to keep him quiet and out of the news, just became the most surprising whistleblower in NFL history. He just told on his own coach, Kevin Stefanski. He verified what millions of Browns fans, football experts, and social media detectives have been saying for months by doing this. Kevin Stefanski is ruining the careers of quarterbacks in Cleveland one by one, and his most recent victim is none other than Shedeur Sanders, the most exciting young player in football. There is everything in this story: corporate sabotage, ego clashes, a quarterback graveyard that goes back years, a social media smoking gun, and at the center of it all, a 5th-round draft pick who might be the best player on the whole team, rotting on the bench while his coach runs an offense that is so conservative and scared of its own shadow that it makes high school football look aggressive by comparison. This narrative needs some background, so let me take you on a journey. It needs receipts, and it needs us to connect links that the mainstream media either can't see or won't admit. We're heading to Cleveland, Ohio, the factory of sadness, where broken dreams and ruined quarterback careers happen. We're going to show you exactly what's been going on behind closed doors. The Cleveland Browns recently won a game that the box score would label a resounding victory, 31-6 over the Miami Dolphins. It looks good on paper. The defense completely shut down Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins offense. Even though it was cold and gloomy in Cleveland, the stadium was rocking. Fans who exited First Energy Stadium thought their team had made progress, that this season might be saved, just maybe. But I'm here to tell you right now that winning is only a cover-up. That win is a deception to keep you from seeing what's really going on. The scoreboard shows the magician's right hand waving in the air, but the left hand is doing the real trick. While everyone was applauding the 31-point performance and the Browns were patting themselves on the back for making Mike McDaniel's offense look bad, the actual narrative was unfolding in secret on encrypted apps and private group talks on social media. And it concerns Deshaun Watson, one of the most expensive, controversial, and quiet quarterbacks in the NFL. We all know what the official story is now. Watson has been on injured reserve since he tore his Achilles tendon. He has been a ghost, a $230 million 0-cents ghost that haunts the halls of the Browns building. It was barely acknowledged at press conferences and rarely aired on TV. It was basically forgotten about, even though it was the biggest financial commitment in franchise history. I still think Deshaun Watson will play again this season, and I've been saying that from the start. I don't think his time in Cleveland is done yet, not even close. But we're not here to speak about his Achilles tendon or his recovery timeline or when he could return to the field. We're here to speak about what he's been doing online, his digital footprint, and the moves he's been making while he's supposed to be quietly recovering and remaining out of the public eye. The Browns did win a big game against Miami, and their defense looked great, and their running game worked well, but something far more exciting was going on at the same time, something that could break this group apart from the inside. Deshaun Watson just caught Kevin Stefanski in the act in the most current and clear way possible. He loved the video on TikTok. I know what some of you are thinking right now. It's a major deal that a TikTok like that's the big deal. Yes, yes, yes. A like isn't just a like in today's NFL, where teams, agents, public relations agencies, and millions of fans keep an eye on what every player does on social media. It's a statement. It's a place to stand. It's a way to tell the world how you feel about something. And when that like comes from a quarterback who is getting more guaranteed money than any other player in NFL history, and it happens during a week when his team has won, but the quarterback controversy is getting worse and worse, when he supports a fan video that singles out his head coach for being a career-destroying phony, that like becomes a nuclear bomb. To understand why Watson's social media behavior is so important, you need to know what happened on the field yesterday. This was supposed to be the big game. Everyone had it marked on their calendars. Everyone in the football world, from fans to the media, was watching Cleveland with one question on their minds. Would we finally get to witness Shedeur Sanders play? The arrangement was just right. Dillon Gabriel, the starting quarterback that Cleveland picked before Sanders, had been having a hard time. At most, his performance had been average. At worst, it had been boring. People were saying that Gabriel was on the shortest leash in NFL history, and they were saying it in the building. He was done. After one poor half, one pick, and one mishandled snap, the coaches would have to pull him and give Shedeur a chance. The crowd was ready to start the Shedeur chance at the first sign of danger. The stress was getting worse. The time seemed to have come. There were signs all over the place. Deshaun Sanders Jr., Shedeur's brother and best friend, flew to Cleveland to see the game. Take a moment to think about that. Bucky flew from wherever he was to Cleveland, Ohio, where it was cold and rainy. I'm not claiming that's proof that Shedeur was going to play, but come on, think about it. Think about it. What other reason would he have for going? This was supposed to be a big deal. The first game for the most talked about fifth-round pick in NFL history. But Kevin Stefanski had other ideas. The so-called offensive guru, the guy who's miraculously won Coach of the Year twice, the guy who has a laminated play sheet, who has convinced half of the football world that he knows what he's doing on offense. He pulled off the most apparent act of sabotage I've ever witnessed in professional sports. He killed his own offense by choking it. He killed it by suffocating it. He made a game plan that was so safe that it was almost a joke. He was so afraid of putting his quarterback in a situation where he might have to chuck the ball. The Browns ran the ball. Then they ran it again. And then when they had to pass, they threw checkdowns and screen passes that went nowhere. Then they ran the ball again. Stefanski wasn't trying to win. He was coaching so that his team wouldn't lose. More significantly, he was trying to keep Dillon Gabriel from making a big enough mistake that it would be worth yanking him. Let me give you the numbers because they tell a story that is quite bad. Dillon Gabriel, the starting quarterback for a club that won by 25 points, threw 13 of 18 passes for 116 yards. Please read that again. 116 yards in a whole four-quarter NFL game in 2025 with modern passing rules that favor offenses. They were in charge of the game from start to end. Gabriel only threw the ball 18 times, and none of those throws were touchdowns. Tua Tagovailoa, who played for the losing squad that got completely destroyed, tossed the ball 23 times. The losing quarterback had more throw attempts than the winning quarterback. That's not a plan for the game. That's not a plan for offense. That's giving up. That's being a coward. That's a head coach who is so scared that his quarterback will make a mistake that he'd rather win with 116 passing yards than take the chance of opening up the offense. And here's the deal. Dillon Gabriel hasn't lost the ball yet. Not one interception, not one fumble that was lost. And do you know what? It's not because he's been really smart or careful with the football. Kevin Stefanski has put bubble wrap around him. He gave his quarterback training wheels. Gabriel can't make a mistake because his attack is so simple, so safe, and so free of anything that could go wrong that he never has to make a real decision. Why would Stefanski do this? Why would he purposely hurt his own offense? Why would he employ a ground and pound offense from the 1970s when the league has never been more pass friendly? The solution is clear, yet it makes me mad because he's scared of what will happen next. He knows that as soon as Gabriel throws that first interception, the stadium will turn against him. The crowd will start to chant for Shedeur. People in the media will start to wonder why the better quarterback is sitting on the bench. The experiment will be ended, and Stefanski will have to play the youngster he clearly doesn't want to. Stefanski has decided to protect his own ego and stubborn quarterback preferences by basically taking the quarterback position out of the equation entirely. This means that instead of letting his offense breathe, taking advantage of the weapons he has and giving his team the best chance to score points and win games convincingly, he has chosen to protect his own ego and stubborn quarterback preferences. He'd rather win 13-10 with 100 yards passing than 42-35 with 350 yards from Shedeur Sanders. I've never seen a coach do something so cowardly and open to protect themselves. And now we get to the big news. Now let's talk about Deshaun Watson and the TikTok that is going viral on all social media sites. That takes us to the point where a $230 million 0-cents franchise quarterback made the decision to speak up. This is what occurred. On October 9, a Browns fan named Chad and the ignorant Browns fans produced a TikTok video that was basically a diatribe on Kevin Stefanski's offensive system. Chad makes a point in the video that Browns fans have been talking about for years. Every quarterback who plays for Kevin Stefanski looks horrible, but then they leave Cleveland and suddenly get their act together and play well somewhere else. Chad talks about Baker Mayfield, who had a lot of trouble with Stefanski, got kicked out of Cleveland, and then went to Tampa Bay, where he's played some of the finest football of his career. He talks about Joe Flacco, who just got off the injured reserve list and looked better in his Week 7 game than he ever did in Cleveland. There is no doubt about the pattern. The proof is too much to ignore. Quarterbacks come into the Kevin Stefanski system looking good, but they leave looking broken and have to start over somewhere else. Chad asks what he calls a real question in the video. Is it certain that Deshaun Watson is bad? Kevin Stefanski has had a lot of bad quarterbacks. Then they leave to another team, find themselves, and become great. That's a good question. It's a question that gets to the heart of what's going on in Cleveland. Is it the quarterbacks that are the issue? Is it the system, though? Are the players to blame? Is it the coach, though? Then the big news came. Deshaun Watson liked the video. He didn't just watch it and go on. He didn't mean to tap the screen. He saw a fan video that directly criticized his head coach, arguing that Stefanski hurts quarterback's career. This made him think that Watson's problems might not be all his own. And Watson clicked the favorite button. He signed it digitally. He gave it his mark of approval. He transmitted a message to everyone who was listening. This fan is telling the truth. The fan who put up the video was shocked. He went back to social media to show the screenshot that Deshaun Watson had liked his post. He remarked, "Wow, does that mean Deshaun agrees now? Does Deshaun like it when I crash like I normally do? I have no idea. I do know that every quarterback who leaves Kevin Stefanski becomes a better quarterback." Cleveland is always exciting. We need to be very clear about what just transpired. This isn't just some random backup linebacker liking a fan's post. This isn't a practice squad player who is upset. This is the franchise quarterback, the person the Browns gave up everything for in the future. The man who is meant to be the face of the company for the next few years is publicly agreeing with a fan's critique of his own head coach. That's never happened before. That is very explosive. That kind of behavior may cause a lot of trouble in the locker room and get individuals fired. Some people try to ignore this now. They'll say Watson was only protecting himself and that he loved the video because it makes him look good and not like a bad person. And yes, that's part of it. Watson has every right to be upset about how things have gone for him in Cleveland. People have been really controversy. He had a hard time on the field, and now he's hurt and has to watch from the sidelines while the same broken offensive system fails with yet another quarterback. But this is where it ties into the greater tale, the one that everyone watching this develop cares about the most. Shedeur Sanders. Deshaun Watson isn't simply in a secluded place getting better from his injury. He is in that building. He is at those meetings. He sits on that side of the field during games. He sees what we see and probably a lot more that we don't. He sees the most exciting collegiate quarterback in a long time, a child with great arm skill and calmness, having to wield a clipboard and watch a quarterback throw for 116 yards in a blowout win. He sees a head coach who is actively planning his attack so that he doesn't have to play his best player. Kevin Stefanski is overseeing the same career-killing strategy that made Baker Mayfield look like a regular guy, according to Watson, that made Joe Flacco look like he was done. That has made Watson look like a shadow of the Pro Bowl player he used to be. And now he's watching it happen to another young quarterback, another victim whose career is being cut short before it even starts. He's seeing Shedeur Sanders get the same treatment, getting buried on the depth chart, not because of his talent or performance, but because of coaching ego and problems with the company. Watson couldn't keep quiet any longer. He couldn't keep it to himself. He couldn't stand to see another quarterback's career ruined by the same system that has ruined so many others, but he also couldn't just say it straight out. He wasn't able to hold a press conference. He could tweet himself. That would be too blatant, too confrontational, and too much of a direct challenge to the coaches. So he did the next best thing. He met a fan who was daring enough to speak what everyone else was thinking, and he offered the fan the best cosign ever. He liked the video more. He set off the signal flare. He told the world that this is real, this is correct, and someone who works there agrees with what you're seeing. The effects of this are huge. This backs up what Browns followers and others who aren't fans have been saying for months. Kevin Stefanski is now actively, deliberately, and systematically sabotaging Shedeur Sanders. The question is, why? What could a head coach possibly want to do by keeping his best quarterback on the bench while running an offense that doesn't use the passing game very much? There are a few ideas, and they all make Stefanski look very bad. One idea is that he realizes that his employment is in trouble. He understands that no matter what happens, he will probably be fired at the conclusion of the season. Instead of giving in to the player that management or ownership placed on him, he has elected to go down with the players he chose and groomed. This is ego-driven self-destruction, and he is burning the house down on his way out the door. The second theory is easier to understand, but just as bad. Stefanski simply dislikes Shedeur Sanders. He doesn't like the excitement. He doesn't want to be in the spotlight. He doesn't appreciate having Deion Primetime Sanders' kid on his team because of all the media attention that comes with it. He calls himself a no-nonsense coach and wants a no-nonsense quarterback, even if that quarterback can only throw for 116 yards in a 400 game. His ego is so big and so weak that he can't handle anything that questions his authority. He would rather lose than win with a player that embodies everything he doesn't like. The third theory, which is probably the most frightening, is that Stefanski really thinks his method is more essential than individual aptitude. He believes that if he runs his offense precisely how he sees it, with a quarterback who does exactly what he's instructed without asking questions or coming up with new ideas, he can win games. It's the most extreme form of coaching arrogance. He'd rather have a quarterback who is okay but follows orders than one who is terrific but sometimes goes off script. No matter which theory is right, or if it's a mix of all three, the effect is the same. People are making it hard for Shedeur Sanders to show what he can do. Even though he's the best quarterback on the team, he's being buried on the depth chart. He is watching from the sidelines as his head coach runs an attack that is so safe that it makes prevent defense look aggressive. And now, courtesy to Deshaun Watson's digital breadcrumb, we have proof from inside the building that this isn't simply what fans in the media are saying. This is true. This is going on. And someone who has been through it all just told the whole world about it. We should also talk about when Watson's happened, because that matters too. This wasn't just some casual scrolling through social media in the midst of the week. This happened soon after the Miami game. Right after Stefanski used a very conservative game strategy, Dillon Gabriel passed for 116 yards just after that. Deion Sanders Jr. came to Cleveland to see his brother play, but he only saw him stand on the sideline for 4 quarters. Watson witnessed everything happen, even the blatant sabotage, and decided that was the time to send his message. The mainstream media is going to try to hide this story. People will pretend it was an accident, like Watson was simply scrolling through TikTok and his thumb slipped. I don't believe for a second that we're reading too much into a casual encounter on social media. Professional players, especially those who have been in the league as long as Watson and have had to deal with as much media attention as he has, are very careful about what they post on social media. They know that every post, like, and follow will be looked at and studied. Watson knew exactly what he was doing when he pushed that favorite button. He knew what he was saying, yet he did it nonetheless because the truth needed to come out. This is also part of a bigger trend that has been going on in Cleveland for years. The Browns have become a quarterback graveyard where young quarterbacks go to see their careers end. Baker Mayfield, the first overall pick, arrived to Cleveland with a lot of confidence and swagger. He looked broken and defeated when he departed. Deshaun Watson, a 3-time Pro Bowler who was one of the most intriguing young quarterbacks in the game when he played for Houston, has looked like a shell of himself since moving to Cleveland. Joe Flacco had a brief flash of success, but he couldn't keep it going in Stefanski's system. There is no denying the trend, and now Shedeur Sanders is in danger of becoming the next victim. It's even more aggravating that we've seen Shedeur perform. We watched him play at Colorado in front of the biggest audience possible. We saw him pass for well than 3,000 yards and had a great ratio of touchdowns to interceptions. We witnessed him handle stress, throw from varied angles, digest information fast, and lead his team in tough road games. We showed us all the traits that make a great franchise quarterback. And now he's being instructed to sit down, shut up, and wait his turn behind a quarterback who can't throw for more than 120 yards in a blowout win. The most damning proof of Stefanski's sabotage is how he has managed the game plan when it would have made sense to give Shedeur a chance. The game against Miami yesterday was a great way for a backup quarterback to get some practice. The Browns were in charge. The defense was playing great. They got a good lead. In those situations, a team would usually let their young quarterback play a few games to get used to things, build his confidence, and see what he can accomplish when the pressure isn't too high. Stefanski, on the other hand, said no. He kept Dillon Gabriel in the game for all 4 quarters, had him throw 18 passes, and made sure that Shedeur never went close to the field. That's not a mistake. That's not how the game goes. That's not going with the flow or sticking with the hot hand. That's exclusion on purpose. That's a coach saying something. I don't care how good you are. I don't care what the supporters desire. I don't care what makes sense from a strategic point of view. You are not playing for me. It's bad coaching mixed with pride and stubbornness. The atmosphere in the locker room must be rather bad right now. Players can see. They see the same things we do. Every day they watch Shedeur practice. They know how good his arm is, how hard he works, and what kind of leader he is. They also see their head coach purposely keeping that talent on the bench while running an offense that makes their jobs harder. Wide receivers don't want to see their team run the ball 40 times a game. They want to catch passes. They want a quarterback who can throw the ball far, attack defenses from above, and offer them chances to make plays. Shedeur can accomplish all of these things. From what we've seen, Dylan Gabriel can't or won't.